Hey, Gamecock fans, welcome to another episode of Alumni Game. You'll see just the two of us today. Mike is fighting grizzly bears out in the great frontier over there. So I'll be hosting, taking over some duties, and hopefully I'll do a lot better job than I did last time in the off season. I'm your host today, Sam Niedermeyer, class of '06. With me, as always, Buster Clarkson, class of '02 and MBA, and no, Master of
MPH,
MPH.
Masters of Public Health.
Public Health 2013. Buster,
Yep.
great to see you. You look amazing.
Yep.
We are coming off a big win against Virginia Tech. However, there was one wager that perhaps you didn't hit. What was that again? And are you ready to pay up?
Yes. I predicted that Lenoris would be able to find his brother, Jaden Sellers,
That's
somewhere
right.
in the field. Completed pass Sellers to Sellers connection. Did not happen. I did get to see a connection to Donovan Murph, one of our other true freshman wide receivers. That was cool to
Exciting.
see. That was a great throw, thread the needle by Lenoris. Amazing looking pass. But as always, I'm a man of my word. And I said bourbon, didn't get the bourbon, but I have some tequila. There it is. As you can see, it's in my custom Gamecock
The
shot
shot looks
glass.
great.
And it is chilled. I did put this in the freezer before I brought it out for the podcast. So
Good, good,
this is a
good.
little bit of tequila. Man of my word, I will pay up.
Cheers, mate. There you go.
Delicious,
Well done on taking that wager. The Sellers and Sellers
indeed.
connection did not happen, unfortunately. But fortunately, the Gamecocks came away with a win, 24 to 11.
Hmm.
We're coming up with something fun tonight. We're going to chop it up a little bit. It's going to be the good, the bad, and the cocky. What went right? What was beautiful? What went wrong? What was bad and ugly? And what was cocky? What are we going to stick our chests out about? Buster, let's get started. What do you say? You ready?
Yes, dude, I love it. I'm going to tell you this: a lot of people are going to go on their goods, and they're going to talk about Lenoris and the game he had. A lot of great runs by him, some great passing. People are going to talk about Fred J.R. Johnson. Maybe we'll mention him. We'll see.
Ooh.
But one part of the game that I wanted to shout out is the specific point of Beamer Ball, and because this was Virginia Tech versus South Carolina, the Beamer Bowl, as you call it, we had to talk about special teams. I was very happy to see the special teams perform the way they did. And not even going to talk about Vicari Swain just yet, because you know what? We have three new kickers. We have Mason Love, William Joyce, and Max Kelly. None of those guys kicked for us last year. They are brand new. And you know what they did? Mason Love averaged 47.8 yards a punt. Three of those punts were inside the 20. Kickoffs, we did not allow a return past the 25. And William Joyce as our place kicker for field goals and extra points. He was a solid hundo percento. So,
Take the
and by the
field
way,
goal,
he's a
too.
fifth year. Yep. So he's a fifth year walk on, and I think that's an amazing thing that he stuck with it. He's worked his butt off, got to this point, and has finally got a chance. And from what I've heard, and I didn't get to see it because unfortunately I was not at the game. Fortunately, I was hanging with my brother and my nephews. But from some people that did attend the game, were able to get there for pregame. Joyce was hitting from 50 with not a lot of extra effort. So you may have a chance, maybe, to have a good guy back there that's got a strong leg that can probably get us out of some tight situations with
Hmm.
a solid kicking performance. So shout out to our kickers. And then, oh, by the way, everybody's talking about Harbor on that 64-yard bomb and that he got up to 22 miles an hour. From things that I've heard on the message boards, the one play where we hit the punt, he's the gunner, he streaks down the field, nails the guy for basically zero return, pops him. I've heard some people did their calculations, distance equals rate times time, and he came out at 24 miles an hour. That's
Ooh.
not confirmed, but based on math is mathing. I would
The,
say 24 miles an hour is pretty close to hitting the speed limit.
I tell you what, he goes a couple more miles per hour. He's getting a ticket when he's running through residential areas and school zones. Man, that is quick.
Exactly.
You know, it was funny. You said this thing about Gunner. I remember watching the game thinking, okay, we got Nick Harbor out there to beat a Gunner, but he is a bullet. He is a massive dude. He gained a lot of weight in the offseason. Looks really healthy. Obviously, he's fast. Yeah, the throw by Lenore Sellers to him was an absolute beautiful piece. Beautiful piece of art there. Nice art that came right in. But I was actually really happy with the way he played on special teams. Really, really other fun point. We'll move on to the next one too. Is that Max Kelly? Really nice to see Mason Love, Max Kelly, William Joyce all find their specific groove in the kicking game, right? We
Yeah.
started off
Yep.
with Mason Love, I think, accidentally kicked it out of bounds after the first score. Max Kelly comes right in and boots it 5 times and then putting it inside the 20-yard line, 25
Yeah.
yard line. Excellent job, special teams. Cannot say enough. We'll talk about obviously Vakari's beautiful return. But I'm with you, man. It's back to Beamer ball history. By the way, did you see Lenore's give the game ball to Dad there
Yep.
to Frank
Oh,
Beamer?
dude. That was an outstanding moment because
Yeah.
that little the recognition of where your coach comes from and the origination of the way that our culture is, and a lot of what Shane has done for our culture comes from his dad and what his dad did at Virginia Tech. So that recognition, especially from someone like Lenore's, really speaks volumes to what we have in the Spurrier Complex and Williams Bryce Stadium. So shout out to Lenoris. That was a great moment. I'm glad that the rest of the nation got to see what kind of program we run here in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah, it was. You're right about all. Like, it's so cool to see that was like, hey, on ESPN. Now everyone can see it on social media. Him handing the game ball
Yep.
to Frank Beamer. I'm excited. I'm excited for another year of Beamer. But this looks like a complete Beamer ball season, by the way.
Oh
If you
yeah.
This was a Beamer ball win, 24-11, hard nosed. We gotta go on to the next. But good. I'll tell you what my good is. Man, people with question marks with the defense all across in the offseason. Like, how are they going to come up? We lost a lot of guys to the NFL. I think 7 or 8, I believe
Yep.
7 starters are now on NFL teams. A lot of transfers coming in. Gabriel Brownlow, Dindy, for instance, Troy Pikes. Who the linebackers that are going to step up, right? Good Lord, did they step up, and they stepped up.
Yeah, yeah, they did.
The defensive, we already knew Dylan Stewart was a dog, right? But he was in the backfield the entire night. Didn't get as many. We put up a poll, say how many sacks are going to get. Most people said over 1.5. We unfortunately hit the under at one. But you know what? You'll take it. He had 7 pressures, 7 total tackles, 2 solo,
Yep.
a sack. He also had a tackle for loss back there in the run game.
Yep.
He was a absolute monster. But the entire defensive front seven, you mentioned it beforehand. I think you'll give a little bit more insights. But Gabriel Brownlow Dindy came in off the bench, uh, penetration all night, was eating
Yeah.
up
Oh
those
yeah.
guys. We absolutely hyped up Brownlow Dindy. You can watch that episode right there. Look at right above about how he came in. We were excited for him to add that new dimension into the run game. You'll talk about the secondary in a second because I know that's your team, but how about those linebackers? Fred J.R. Johnson, we'll talk a little bit more about him, but 10 total tackles, absolute force. My favorite play was there was a run, I believe, in the first half, first quarter even. They run to the outside, looked like there was space. Nope, he's a bullet coming right over, solo tackle, taking the player out. The runner out, I believe it was Hawkins, right there on the left side. If he
Yeah.
doesn't make that tackle, that's a first down and maybe another 15, 20 yards. He made every tackle in his way. Fred Johnson, absolute dog. And then you hear him after the game, too. He is ready to step up and be a leader. I'm excited. This front seven is something else. What did you like from the defense?
Oh man, I guess what I liked the most was the fact that they made us bright. They made us look like we know what we're talking about
We're
because
geniuses.
we did spend a lot of the offseason talking about like what pieces would complement Dylan Stewart's ability to get to the quarterback and get into the backfield. And for me, it was okay if he does that, is the opposite side of the line, the other defensive end going to eat. And Brian Thomas Jr. and JT Gear, I noticed a couple plays, and JT Gear especially, I think he was in on a sack as well,
Yep,
but
yep,
he
he
was
got a
able to get
sack.
into the backfield. And then, the other thing was part of our best case, worst case episode, which, we'll link it up there and obviously just go through our
Yep,
list,
check it
taking
out.
every episode as much as you can because we give you lots of good information. That episode, one of the things we worried about was a lot of those guys have not played for us before, and then the potential 2 starters in Monkel Goodwin and Nick Barrett have played for us before, but have not gotten significant snaps. And so we were worried: were they going to be able to handle their responsibilities on a consistent basis throughout the entire game? And the answer to that is unequivocally yes. Like Gabriel Brownlow Dindy, especially when he was out there, you noticed who he was. I mean, it was at least 2 to 3 miles between his shoulders. That's how wide he was. That's how
Yep.
broad he was. And the cool thing is, apparently, his PFF score was the highest on the team. Again, that's not going to show up on stat sheets as far as tackles and sacks and this and that. But the way that they measure PFF for interior linemen is did they take care of their responsibilities? Were they able to manage their double teams? Were they able to open up holes for the linebackers to hit the gaps and get into the backfield? Were they able to make sure that the guard couldn't push out and double team with the tackle on someone like Dylan Stewart? And yes, those guys did exactly what they were able to do, and they did get in the backfield. There was times where you're looking at Kyron Drones, and granted, shout out to Kyron Drones. He played a heck of a game. I really like him. Best of luck to him and actually the rest of the Hokies. I actually like that team, and I
A
hope
lot
they
better. They were
do.
a lot better than I thought they were.
Yeah, the two green wide receivers, Donovan, and I can't remember his brother's name or if they're related, but
Brooks Brothers.
that's a great looking team. So shout out to them. But going back to Kyron Jones, when he was in trouble from a rush standpoint, yes, there was Dylan, but there was at least one or two interior linemen coming in there as well. So even if he was able to escape in some way, that pocket was collapsing enough from the interior that he was never going to have a clean passing lane on a consistent basis. And you saw a lot of like drop passes, bad throws, overthrows, underthrows, throws out of bounds. And that's a lot to do with the interior lineman, not just Dylan Stewart. So shout out to those guys.
Absolutely, and we're gonna get one more. I think I might have said the bad, but I actually meant the good for me. So Mike, come back. We need you. I'm a terrible host, but real quick before we move on to the bad, I will. We do want to give a special shout out to the secondary.
Yeah,
Those two defensive backs were on islands all day by themselves, and they did more than better, knowing that they were going to be by themselves. Really shut down that receiving core, held Kyron Jones to 15 to 25 passing. Unbelievable stuff right
yeah.
there.
Peyton Williams got an interception. Brandon Cisse has shown that he can live on an
He played a
island
great
and
game.
he can eat very well on that island. After Judge went out with the injury, the backups came in and performed admirably. Saw David Busey on a few plays. Shout out to him. And
Yeah.
that episode is right up there. We'll link that because that's what we do. So, yeah, uh, the secondary, we expected big things from them. We got big things. They did give up a couple of deep passes, and people were worried about that. But if you watch the replay, the guys were on the receiver's hips. They were Velcro to
Yeah,
them.
I
It was
mean, they
just
were
a
great
great
catches.
throw. Yeah, great throw, great catch. Like you can't bat 1,000 unless you're in me and wiffle ball. But beyond that, you're not going to bat 1,000. And the fact is when it did matter, these guys stepped up and made the plays. Because if you notice in that box score that Sam mentioned at the top of the show, that 11 points does not include a single touchdown.
Not one. Not one touchdown. So shout out. Great job of the defense. Love to see it. Really excited to see where they go the rest of the year. Let's move to the bad, unfortunately, and I'll lead
Yeah,
this one off. And I don't think it's going to be any shocker here. Offensive line really struggled. The first drive was absolutely beautiful. You could tell that was scripted. Mike Shula had his fingerprints all over on that. Getting the Mo Brown and Brady Hunt getting them involved. The North Sellers running for the 20-yard touch. The offensive line really struggled after that. Really had a tough time creating holes. A lot of rushing lanes really weren't open. There was a total of 47 yards lost on the ground on just negative plays only. That includes sacks and tackles in the backfield. Four sacks were given up. A lot of pressure allowed. What did you see from that offensive line?
yeah, a lot of whiffs, but I see a lot of quote unquote inexperience. If you're looking at the left side of the line, Rodney Newsom got the start at left guard. I think Shed Surratt was going to be the potential starter at that position, but he was out. I don't know the nature of the injury or the reason why he was out. I don't think
Hmm.
Shane really addressed it specifically, which is fine. It's neither here or there. But Newsom did struggle, but you got to remember that's his first time starting in that position on this team, on this offensive line, in a big game at the start of the season. You look at Bo Stanley at center, same thing. Yes, these guys have played before, but they've played at a lower level. They have not played, and again, like I said, Virginia Tech is a good team that had a good defensive front. I actually like their front seven.
Yeah.
And they're was it Sam Cephas? I apologize if I said it wrong, but the defensive coordinator for Virginia Tech, he was stacking the box. He was putting 7, 8, sometimes even 9 in the box. He had an array of exotic blitzes and stunts. And so that's going to mess you up. And obviously on an offensive line, if one guy messes up, it's a domino effect. That's just how the offensive line works. It moves as a singular unit. So when you have one guy messing up, and especially if he's young and inexperienced or he's new to the team, you're going to expect mistakes. And unfortunately, especially at the safe when Lenore's got tackled for the safety. According to Rodney Newsom missed his block badly. Josiah on the left tackle could not get back and kind of help out with them. Apparently, there was maybe a some lack of communication or bad communication about the front that they saw. Whatever the reason, part of it, Lenore's didn't get the ball out quickly. There was an open receiver. I don't know if he saw him or just couldn't get the ball to him. The wide variety of things. But the problem is whether it was the running back's fault, Lenore is holding on to the ball too long, one guy whiffing on a block. The fact is, it makes the whole offensive line look bad. Good thing is, first game of the season,
Yeah.
first game jitters, new players, film and reps takes care of a lot of that. And if you notice, by the end of the game, we started getting better blocks, which led to better passes, better runs. Oscar Attaway and Rasul Faison looked a lot better going into the third and fourth quarter.
Yep.
So, there is improvement there. Next week we have, or this week actually, we have NC State. So there's a chance to get reps against a lesser opponent. So there's a chance to get better, improve. You go in the film room and you get better over the course of the year, just like we did last year.
You
So
kind
not too worried.
I'm with you. I'm not terrible. You kind of got the sense that you're okay with the way the game ended because they ran out the last like what 5, 6 minutes,
Yeah.
4.5 minutes, whatever it was. So you can kind of say, all right, listen, we did stop the wall, we did stop the run, we didn't run the ball. So you kind of like the way it ended. A lot of depth. Marquis Anderson had some really good snaps coming in too as well. But I also understand that there was a questionable call near the end of the first half that maybe could be bad as well.
Yeah. The officials are terrible. And it's one of these where, by letter of law, and if you're looking at the exact rule that says that you have to control the ball through the contact of the ground, et cetera, was there a bobble? I mean, if you slow down the film 10 million times to what it was, and you're using a microscope and you're measuring things by millimeters, there may have been a little bit of movement in that ball, but that's the problem. We keep having to add on things to constitute a catch. When you need 4 to 5 different requirements to constitute a catch, and the only way to check those 4 or 5 requirements is to spend 10 minutes at the replay TV and looking and nitpicking at every single millimeter and every single nanosecond, then you're not going to get a lot of catches in college football or professional football. Like that, you kind of negate the idea of a sideline catch because you're going to nitpick. So, yes, I blame the refs because that's what we do as football fans. You always blame the refs. But the idea is that this is a more of a systemic issue with football in general. You can't keep making up rules and adding requirements and adding these iterations of rules to keep up with the replay technology. Just call it like it is. If it's a catch, he got 1 foot down. He got 2 feet down. So that was the NFL catch.
Yeah.
Carried the ball through until he was out of bounds. Once you're out of bounds, the play is dead. So if he made the catch, got 2 feet down in bounds, and then steps out of bounds, the play is dead. That's a touchdown. End of story. End of rule.
I don't understand how you had enough evidence to, you're supposed to have enough evidence to overturn it, right? It has to be indisputable
Yeah,
evidence. Like,
undisputed. Yeah,
why couldn't you just say touchdown like the original call on the field? I don't know, but that's a high
yeah.
bar. Like Mike said when we were all texting each other watching that game, that is a high bar for a catch. So I agree with you that was bad. But hey, let's finish up with the cocky. What do you say? We're gonna do rapid fire. 5 minutes left. Let's finish out with the cocky. What are you cocky about?
All right, so my cocky, Fred J.R. Johnson, balling
Oof,
out, looked
oof.
amazing sideline to sideline speed, strength. The athleticism was there. That ceiling's high, and we're going to reach it. And man, this guy is something special. Keep a lookout. You're going to see a lot more highlights from him as the season goes on. Oh, and by
Abs
the way, he had an interception. Sky
yeah.
Moore, interception in the end zone.
Absolute stud from my home state of Virginia down in Norfolk. Love seeing him. Looking forward to what he can do. I'll tell you what I'm cocky about. Fan
Yeah.
flex in Atlanta. Looked like Williams-Brice
Woo!
East over there. The fans were
Mm-hmm.
wild. The defense was loud. Even when it was 10-8, fans did not give up. They were loud in the excuse me, Mercedes-Benz Super, well, not Superdome, but Mercedes-Benz Dome right there in Atlanta. Absolutely loved seeing the fans ball out to support the
Yeah.
team. Went crazy on Bakari Swan's touchdown, went crazy on Nick Harbor's touchdown, and the defense really fed off that energy. Great job, Gamecock fans. Way to travel. Way to travel.
Yeah. Yeah. The kind of piggyback off of the fan flex. So, Mike Hockey, obviously Vakari Swain, great move by Shane Beamer to accept the penalty on that punt to have them re-kick it.
Good
They ended
call.
up out. Yes, and at the time I was like, "What are you doing, man? Just take the penalty and let's go. Let's go. Let's get the offense going." But nope, he gets them to re-punt. They outkick their coverage, and not only great moves by Vakari Swain to get there, very athletic, very dynamic with the ball in his hands, but outstanding blocking because there were several times where if our guys were to engage in those blocks, that could have been a potential for a block in the back. But you know
Mhm.
what? They pulled up. They realized that all they had to do was get in the way. Bakari's athleticism would have gotten him by, and he shoots to the freaking end zone. So shout out to not only Bakari Swing, but shout out to Shane Beamer for the call. Shout out to the blockers for not engaging, getting a potential block in the back. And for the fan flex part of it, yeah, there was a lot of fans there because on that freaking punt return touchdown, I actually had to fix the volume on my TV because it got so loud from our fans cheering that I felt like I almost blew out one of my speakers. So, kind of both of those two things work out well together.
Absolutely love it. I got one more too on that note. Good job, coach, to get Vicarious. He had a muff punt earlier in the game, right? Get his head straight.
Yeah,
Hey, don't just return it next time. Give him a nice little pat on the shoulder on the
yeah,
helmet,
yep,
and he did return it. Also, one more cocky about Travian Robertson. Looks like he's doing better right now after his accident. That front
yeah,
seven, Travian, you have coached them up something else. They are going to be beasts. I am cocky about this front seven.
yes,
Absolute
yeah,
dogs. I mean, they just really Virginia Tech's a good team. I watched them; like they are very well coached. I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be solid, make some
yeah.
noise in little brother ACC. But shout out cocky about Travian Robertson. Hopefully he comes back over. We don't really need him for South Carolina State, but certainly against Vanderbilt, we'd love to have you back.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, my little shout out for that front seven is Justin Okoronkwo. There
Ooh,
was that one play where he diagnosed it quick. It was a little pitch out to the side. Man, that lateral speed and the decapitation of that running back was something that looked phenomenal, and I'm excited about seeing him with the rest of the guys. Gabriel Brownlow Dindy, Troy Pikes, JT Gear. Hopefully he gets back. Hopefully his injury wasn't too serious. So yeah, that front seven. And then last, Sam, first drive of the game, last drive of the game.
love it.
Start strong, finish strong. That's the way we
Yes,
do it.
that's how you
Gamecock
get.
Nation, rise up.
That is absolutely how you got cocky. You know what? We finished strong and we're going to end strong right now. That's a really good segue right there. Buster, great job today, guys. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
great job.
listening to
Hey, you're a
Alumni
great
Game.
host, buddy. Don't sell yourself short. Great host.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Everyone, drop your comments below. Let us know what you think. What was good? What was bad? What are you cocky about? We're excited for South Carolina State coming up this weekend. Don't forget to check out, don't forget to subscribe, check us all out on Instagram and through some polls out there, as well as making sure you leave us a comment. Tell your friends. We need subscribers. Why not?
Yeah,
Everyone likes this. Let's see what we got. Buster, great job today.
yeah, great job yourself. I enjoyed it. That was fun.
And with that, it's another episode of Alumni
Go!
Cox.
Woo!